So FIFA looked at 32 teams and thought, you know what, not enough. And now we've somehow got 48 nations crammed into a single World Cup, which means 48 fan bases convinced they're going to win it. Or 47. Scotland exists. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff, and let's do this properly. Every World Cup 2026 fan base explained. Brazil fans are cursed and they absolutely, completely, genuinely refuse to accept it. This is a fan base that has watched their national team be the most successful in the history of the sport and somehow still manages to turn every tournament into a national emotional breakdown. Since 2002, they haven't won a thing, and yet every 4 years, Brazilian fans arrive with the energy of a team that won it last week. The whole country shuts down during games. Literally, shops close, streets empty, and the entire nation is united in one shared delusion that this is finally the year, and then it isn't, and then it's someone else's fault. It's the manager's fault, it's the pitch, it was the ref, it was definitely Neymar's hamstring. Never Brazil's fault, never. And that's the thing about Brazilian fans, they don't do rebuilding cycles or patience, they do divine rights. They believe on a spiritual level that the World Cup belongs to them by some celestial arrangement, and when reality suggests otherwise, the grief is extraordinary. If Brazil get knocked out, expect funerals, actual mourning, men crying on television who haven't cried since childhood, coaches being burned in effigy, the whole lot. The fans also carry around a very complicated relationship with the number 5. 5 World Cups, 5. And every tournament is silently dedicated to getting the 6th. It's been over 20 years. The number haunts them. They whisper it in the night. And Neymar being dragged back into this squad at 34, moving like he's got a parking permit for the physio table, is only going to make the emotional arc steeper. Brazilian fans will worship him, carry him on their shoulders into the tournament, and when he limps off in the quarter-final, they will turn on him with the fury of 1,000 suns. That is the cycle. That is Brazil. Argentina fans are not delusional. They're just operating on a different plane of reality to the rest of us. This is a fan base that watched Lionel Messi, lift the World Cup in 2022 and somehow became more intense, not less. You'd think winning it would relax them. It did the opposite. Now they've got something to defend, something to prove, a legacy to extend, and absolutely no chill whatsoever. If you have ever been near Argentine fans during a World Cup, you already know. There is no such thing as a friendly group stage game to them. It doesn't matter if it's Slovenia on a Tuesday afternoon. Those fans are in the stands like it's El Clasico in the final minute of extra time. Flags everywhere, chants that shake the walls, grown adults weeping before kickoff, and the Messi thing is its own category of emotional intensity. Every game this man plays, and this is likely his last World Cup, genuinely this time, is treated like a pilgrimage. Argentine fans don't just support Messi, they worship him. They have shrines. There are tattoos. If Messi scores a goal, someone's grandmother cries. France fans are insufferable, and they know it. They don't just watch the World Cup, they expect to win it. The France squad is so loaded that their backup squad could probably make it to a quarter-final, and French fans are very much aware of this. They talk about it constantly. They will bring up squad depth at dinner, at weddings, at funerals. Yes, tragic, but have you seen our squad depth? This is a fan base with the Ballon d'Or winner who might not even start. The front line switches every tournament like changing a wallpaper. Giroud, Benzema, Griezmann, Mbappé, and now more names rolling in, and the team just keeps producing. French fans treat this as a natural condition of the universe, like gravity or croissants being good. The Mbappé situation is its own chaos generator. French fans are deeply romantically in love with Mbappé and also slightly afraid of him. He runs things, he has opinions, he makes demands, and he is basically a co-manager in a tracksuit. French fans either absolutely live for this energy or think he's going to tear the whole thing apart from the inside. There is no middle ground. When France win, the celebrations are enormous and the fans act like they expected it all along. When France lose, and they have lost, sometimes in spectacular fashion, there is fury, there are press conferences, and there are 17 different people to blame. The squad's too big. As politics, someone looked at someone the wrong way in training. Either way, France fans are turning up to this World Cup fully expecting another trophy. And the worst part is, they might be right. Spain fans are the most aesthetically principled fan base in world football, and they will absolutely die on that hill. It doesn't matter if Spain are winning or losing. What matters is that they're doing it beautifully. Tiki-taka was not just a football philosophy in Spain. It was a cultural identity, a statement, a way of life. And now with Lamine Yamal running the show, Spanish fans have found a new messiah who does something slightly different. He's actually fast. Spain fans don't quite know what to do with fast. They've spent 15 years watching the ball be passed in triangles until the opposition has an existential crisis. Now they've got a teenager running at people and scoring worldies, and it's a whole new emotional experience. The problem for Spanish fans is the striker situation, which has been a conversation for about a decade now. Spain can get the ball into the box better than anyone on earth. What happens then is less certain. Spanish fans have accepted this with a philosophical shrug. We will pass beautifully into the box and then it'll work out. It usually works out. And if it doesn't work out on penalties, then that is simply football. Penalty shootouts are Spanish fans' great recurring nightmare. They've been there, they've lost there. They stare at shootouts the way other people stare at horror films, hands over their eyes but unable to look away. But this squad has something. Yamal, Pedri, Gavi, a team that plays with a joy that's genuinely fun to watch. Spanish fans know it. They're daring to believe again. Oh, here we go. England fans are the single most delusional, hopeful, tragic, loud, wonderful, exhausting group of supporters in international football. And I say this with love. Well, some love, mostly fascination. Every tournament, every single tournament, there is a moment, usually somewhere around the last 16, where the energy shifts. Where a song starts playing in every pub in the country, where grown men start ringing their mothers, where flags appear on cars that haven't seen daylight since the last tournament, where it genuinely actually almost starts to feel like it might be coming home, and then it doesn't come home. And it hasn't come home in over 60 years, and yet the belief is so pure, so structurally load-bearing to the English psyche, that it just rebuilds itself every 4 years like a freshly painted fence. The thing about England fans is they don't think they're delusional. They think they're realistic. They acknowledge the weaknesses. Defence is a bit shaky. They'll say, sipping their pint, but Kane is on fire, and if we just get through the group, and before you know it, they've got England winning the whole thing on the back of a napkin. Harry Kane is the weight that England fans carry. All of it sits on that man's neck. If Kane is scoring, England can beat anyone. If Kane has a quiet game, England fans spend 90 minutes at an elevated level of stress that genuinely cannot be good for them medically. The NHS should be briefed. The squad has improved. The structure is better. There are more good players than there used to be. And yet, the feeling persists. Something will happen. A weird penalty decision, a late goal, a bizarre sending off. An England fan's sixth sense starts tingling at around the 75th minute of any knockout game, and they begin mentally preparing the post-mortem. It's coming home. It's not coming home. It is the eternal dance. Portugal fans are exhausted in a very specific way. They've had generational talent for 20 years. They've had one of the greatest players in human history for most of that time. They've won a Euros. And yet the World Cup has been just out of reach, and fans know, they know that the squad they have right now on paper should be winning major tournaments. The Ronaldo situation is a genuine psychological burden on Portuguese fans. He's 41. He is still there. He still wants the ball. He still celebrates goals like he's just cured a disease. And Portuguese fans are split right down the middle. The hardcore Ronaldo loyalists who would die on that hill, and the modernists who quietly, privately think that maybe the team would flow better without the gravitational pull of one enormous ego. Bruno Fernandes running the midfield. João Neves pulling strings. Vitinha operating in the space between. On paper, this is one of the best midfields in the tournament. Portuguese fans see it. They talk about it. They dream about it. And then Ronaldo takes a free kick from 35 yards that goes over the wall, over the bar, and out of the stadium. And Portuguese fans stare at the ceiling and wonder what might have been. The base level expectation is a deep run. Quarterfinals would be a disappointment. Semi-finals is the floor. A final is possible. And if they actually won it, an entire generation of Portuguese fans would simply implode from joy. The wait has been long enough that winning would feel almost physically impossible to process. They'll believe until the very last minute, and then probably 1 minute after that. Norway fans have won tactical instruction, and they are fine with it. Give it to Holland. That's it. That's the whole plan. And honestly, that's enough of a plan. Erling Haaland at a World Cup is a genuinely terrifying prospect for every defender on the planet, and Norwegian fans have decided to organize their entire emotional investment around him like planets orbiting a sun. He scores, they go mad. He doesn't score, they're nervous. He limps a little in training. Half the country calls in sick. But beyond Holland, Norway actually have something. Oscar Bob can unlock defenses. Odegaard, when fit and free of Arsenal-induced stress, is one of the best players in Europe. Norwegian fans are quietly, tentatively starting to believe that this tournament might be the one where they stop being a romantic underdog story and start being an actual threat. They won't say it out loud. Norway fans are sensible people with good coats and a healthy relationship with realistic expectations, but there's a giddiness creeping in. The Vikings are here and Holland has 40 club goals, and lads, what if? The only concern is defending, which Norway approach with the energy of someone who forgot it was part of the game. But when you have a striker who scores every time he breathes, sometimes you just commit to that and see what happens. American soccer fans are experiencing a genuinely historic moment, and they are handling it with a combination of extreme confidence and fundamental misunderstanding of the offside rule. The United States is co-hosting this World Cup, which means the home crowd factor is real. The atmospheres will be loud, and the American sports media will spend 6 weeks explaining to the casual viewer what a touchline is. The thing about US soccer fans is that there are roughly 4 types. There's the proper football head who's been watching since they were a kid and has strong opinions about pressing systems. There's the casual sports fan who tunes in because it's on and America's playing. There's the person who becomes obsessed for exactly the duration of the tournament and then doesn't watch another game for 4 years. And then there's the person who keeps calling it soccer loudly to annoy the first person. Christian Pulisic is the face, the captain, the guy they've decided is their version of a football superstar, and he's actually good enough to justify most of the fuss. Fowler in Balogun, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, there's real quality in this squad, and American fans are learning to say these names with genuine authority. If the USMNT go on a run in this tournament, and they could, playing at home, with a squad that's better than it's ever been, the memes will be extraordinary, the discourse will be overwhelming, the takes will be unhinged. ESPN will have 17 different graphics explaining how this changes American sports culture forever,